What's up, YouTube? Cancel for TV. Now let's get to this live stream. Turn my camera off. I just have to show myself real quick. Just to let people know. But so this is just a more professional live stream. Live stream. I said I was gonna be on here. Uh, doing a professional live stream. I don't really need anyone in here. I don't really need any viewers. People that's gonna see it, they're gonna see it. They're gonna see it. So, um, I'm gonna go through a list of things. I'm gonna go through a list of things. I'm gonna talk about the suicide note that was sent to Dr. Martin Luther King by the FBI in 1968, if you can believe that. Documented and um, documented and you know done. Like actually, they admitted that. They admitted to sending them a suicide note. They didn't admit to the actual assassination, but that's that's just an example. That was less than. This has nothing to do with color at all, but that was less than 100 years ago. I mean, it's not 2068, right? Right. Okay, so you get what I'm saying. They're doing wrong right now, for sure. Right. So, and it's not just them. I speak they're like every agency. I'm speaking of every agency. They're all corrupt. They're all corrupt. They're all just messed up people. Like it's just like it's messed up, and they think certain people don't see it. But it's ultimately this is going to be about targeting. Like every video that I make is going to be about targeting and helping you understand what's so hard to understand. It's so hard to understand. It's so difficult to understand um, who's doing this stuff. So it's like you get so angry. You get frustrated, you get angry, you get mad because it's like you think it's a cult. You think it's a cult. If you was looking at it, hey, these are cops, you wouldn't be responding like that. I know I sound like a broken record, but has to be it has to be repeated. It's like a lot of stuff needs to be repeated. It's like a lot of stuff. It has to be repeated. A lot of stuff has to be repeated. So start with I'm gonna start with the first thing. I'm not gonna use any numbers or anything like that. I know people could be triggered by pretty much anything when you're in this stuff. But this is basically me reading from my notes about this stuff. I'm gonna start in just a second. Hold on, let me pour, my lemonade. I hope that don't trigger somebody. That's something like, you know, I don't know none of y'all personally, at all. I'm not a perk. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a person on here that just has, I just have knowledge of this stuff. I have logistics. You apply logistics to every part of your life, you get the answer. Logistics are everything. I speak on logistics a lot. I speak on logistics a lot. But just a second after I pour my stuff. All right, let's get to it. Um, so I'm gonna start with the first thing, and I say there is no more response to these perpetrators. Your logic was stolen to make you think that these perpetrators are regular citizens. When anyone with tracking technology or any psycho or any or or psychological tactic knowledge is 100% non-debatable connected to the police, whether they know it or not. Okay? Or anybody that acts as if they know you personally is connected to the police and you don't know them. Anyone that acts as if you know they know you personally is connected to the police and you don't know them. You've just seen them before in your life. They act like you get these directed conversations, whatever you're getting. Anyone, they're connected to the police. So unless you have some type of ego problem to where your self esteem is just so low, and you don't understand, you will respond back to a person that is literally the police in civilian clothes, but not with badge. They probably don't even know what they're doing. You're like I'm saying, who gets mad at the police? So that's how I look at that's what that is. And it's hard for people to understand it. It was hard for me to understand it at first. It doesn't really take too much of the fun away of targeting because it's fun outside of the psychological, I mean, not psychological, but financial deprivation. But I said I walk around smiling now because wow, those those aren't the quote unquote cool kids like we thought. You walking around looking at these people like the cool kids. You're being tracked and harassed by these people. That's not cool kids. Those are police. Those are policemen. Gangsters don't. A gangster is not going to track and harass you. They're going to do something to you. They're not going to track and harass and do psychological tactics and do directed conversations in front of you. Okay, but it's that's not the answer for a target. It almost seems like duh. Like, of course, but that's not the answer for a target. That's not the conclusion that you come up with at first. Those aren't the quote unquote cool kids that are following you around. Those are police in civilian clothes, citizens on patrol. That's basically how you should be looking at them. Like I said, Freemasons, 90% of y'all think Freemasons stalking you, gang stalking you. 90% of a Freemason lodge consists of literal police. And I said this in the last video. I have to keep repeating myself. So I'm not saying that to trigger anyone. So, they Freemasons. Do you know that 90% of a Freemasonic lodge is cops? And I'm reading from my notes, but 90% of a Freemasonic lodge is cops. You think you see Freemasonic harassment, right? That was hard for me to think of. That was the first thing I thought. Like, that was the first thing I saw. I was like, oh, Freemasons gang stalking me. What I said next was what I mean is by that is that it's almost a requirement to be a Freemason when you're a cop. A lot of cops that you come across are Freemasons. This is not an insult. You see citizens sporting the Freemasonic logo as well, right? Not as well, actually. Citizens are one of the only people that sport Freemasonic logos on their vehicles and in several other places. There is no more anger. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a cult. Doing this, like I said, I thought it was a cult doing this, like I said. I thought it was a cult. It doesn't even matter if they're citizen harassers and are just Freemasons. They're cops. That's a very contradictory statement. Law enforcement is the majority of a Freemasonic lodge. There is a news article about some state in the U.S. where there are cops, that state's cops have to say whether they're a part of Freemasonry or not. They have to say it. Like, they have to, not to the people, I believe to their captain or something like that or something. I'm not sure, whatever. But there's your answer on how to deal with targeting. I don't get angry. Who gets angry at cops? Like, They're citizens on patrol. Why are you going back and forth with them because of a directed conversation? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, you have to start looking at stuff as what it is, right? So there's your answer on how to deal with targeting. That's why I don't get mad at it. I get mad at the financial deprivation, but that's just what that is. Most targets say that they're being targeted by Freemasons, and by that statement I just made, you should no longer get angry at citizens you assume to be harassing you, because the majority of a Freemasonic lodge is cops. Basically, if you have citizens harassing you, consider them cops. Problems should be solved by that. You should be smiling uncontrollably. And I say this because that technology, tracking, harassing, and even the knowledge of to do with psychological tactic lets you know that's not a regular person. That's not the cool kids. That's not the cool kids. Now, this is the next summary. Um, Nothing to do with race today. And with this one, this is about the Martin Luther King. This is nothing about race. It's just a time gap between. It's just a time gap between 1968, right, and in 2025. Dog, that's less than 100 years ago. Your people that you depend on for justice sent Dr. King a suicide note. A civil rights activist that had a dream for people to come together. You never seen Martin Luther King with a gun. Nothing about race. I'm just saying it's just the time distance between that thing. It's a time difference. It's the time distance. It's just sad. It's sad, and it's hard. It's people just don't understand it, right? But nothing to do with race today. Literally admitted by the FBI, they sent Dr. King a suicide letter. Now, let me not. They didn't admit to the actual assassination of Dr. King, but they sent him a suicide note, and that is crazy. That was less than 100. That's the people that you depend on for justice. And it's not just only them. This is just something that this is it's one of the documented mess ups. You know, I'm going to read it after this summary, but they cannot admit to killing him if they did, but they did admit to the suicide note less than 75, 80 years ago that was sent to him. I'm going to read the note. They're doing wrong to this day. All alphabet agencies and county, state law enforcement is included. I'm not just speaking on that specific agency. Right now, I'm going to read the suicide note. This was read by, I believe, Gang Stalking Simulation before. This is where I got it from, and I ended up looking it up myself. But this just lets you know what's going on. Like, this stuff, like, they have people they even have us as targets. Like, they even have us as targets, people not thinking. If you get what I'm saying, like, just not thinking, just looking at stuff and just like, oh yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing, like, right? But here's the suicide note that was sent to um, Dr. King. Now, I would never, commit suicide myself. I'm just reading the corruption that is going on today in a different form, which we will get to at the end of this video. Um, and yeah, but they said to King, Dr. King, in view of your low grade, abnormal personal behavior, I will not dignify your name with either Mr. or a Reverend or a doctor, and your last name calls to mind only the type of king, such as King Henry I think the eighth or whatever this is, and his countless acts of adultery and immoral conduct lower than that of a beast. King, look into your heart. You know you are a complete fraud and a great liability to all of us Negroes. White people in this country have white people in this country have enough frauds of their own, but I am sure they don't have one at this time that is anywhere near your equal. You are no, I don't even know what that says. I'm reading it. It's a very small thing, but you are no clergyman, and you know it. I repeat, you are a colossal fraud and evil, vicious one at that. You could not believe in God and act as you do. Clearly, you don't believe in any personal moral principles. King, like all frauds, your end is approaching. You could have been our greatest leader. You, even at an early age, turned out to be not a leader, but a dissolute, abnormal, moral imbecile. We will now have to depend on our leaders like Wilkins, a man of character, and thank God we have others like him. But you are done. Your honorary degrees, your Nobel Prize, what a grim farce. They was talking crazy back then. I can't even understand some of these words, but and other and other awards will not save you. King, I repeat, you are done. No person can overcome facts, not even a fraud like yourself. Lend your sexually psychotic ear to the enclosure. You will find yourself in all your dirt, filth, evil, and moronic talk exposed on the record for all time. I repeat, no person can argue successfully against facts. You are finished. You will find on the record for all the time of your filth, dirty, evil companions, male and females, giving expression with your two hideous abnormalities, and some of them to pretend to be ministers of the gospel. Satan could not do more. And these people are literally Satanists. They said something that the Bible quoted, like your end is approaching. Like yeah, they're Satanists, bro. Like, but that's crazy. I guess that was different back then, but and some of them to pretend to be ministers of the gospel. Satan could not do more. What incredible evilness! And this dude was talking nothing but good. He was talking about bringing people together. It's crazy. It is all there on the record. Your sexual orgies. Listen to yourself, you filthy, abnormal animal. They was bugging his house, right? They was bugging Dr. King. It's nothing about race. We're just saying what you depend on for justice, what they do. Okay, so what they did less than 100 years ago, you know, but you are on record. You have been on the record, and all your adulterous acts, your sexual orgies extending far into the past. This one, but a tiny sample. You will understand this, yes, from your various evil climatics on the East Coast and others on the West Coast and outside the country on my record. King, you are done. The American public, the church organizations that have been helping Protestant, Catholic, and Jews will know you for what you are, an evil, abnormal beast. So will others who have backed you. King, there's only one thing left for you to do. You know what it is. You have just 34 days in which to do. This exact number has been selected for a specific reason. It has definite practical significance. You are done. There is but one way out for you. You better take it before your filthy, abnormal, fraudulent self is bared to the nation. Now this is what the people you depend on justice for. This is what they did. This is what they sent the doctor, the suicide letter they sent to Dr. King. That was less than 100 years ago. This has nothing to do with race. I'm going to get into how the new form of slavery, and it's so genius. It's so genius, and it's so genius. It's so genius. It's so genius what they've done. But the next thing we're going to talk about the next thing we're going to talk about is you know the not because um I haven't said what the topic going to be about, but the next thing we're going to talk about is the mental the mental wards, the mental facilities, and what questions they ask you when you go into a mental facility. We're going to talk about one specific question, but I went, or stuff they ask you before you go into certain places, you know. So I went to one place before, and what they asked me was, "Do you think the radio or the TV is speaking to you?" That's a mental health question. But what I said in the summary was, the TV speaking to targets, news channels, radio. Wait for it. That's a mental illness question. When you enter into certain places like shelters and those detox and psych facilities, it's really going on though. Like it's that they're really doing that. But it's a mental illness question. Like I feel like that question is like just for targets. Like they're really doing it because you don't go crazy, you don't go insane. Like you just let it be. But they really do that. Um, that's just not something that you ever tell anyone. You don't do that. But I said, and I quote, "The radio is speaking to me, speaking on situations in my life, something that a target would say." They're really doing that, but it's just best to accept your importance and why they have to do that to you. Like that's some really, you have to be really, really, this is what I'm saying. People don't understand the benefits of being a target. You have to be really, really important for them people to be doing all of that stuff that they're doing. Like they're going that far. Like that is something insane, and it just confirms your IQ on whatever it is. It confirms that you're doing the right thing. It confirms that you're on the right path. Because most targets don't really care. You know, most targets don't really care for what we're not supposed to really care for, that other people care for, like materialism, all of that stuff. That's going to make you a target. That's going to make you a target. Not having friends, not going to parties, that saves your life. That's going to make you a target. That saves why? Because that saves your life. Why you ain't doing what everybody else doing? Why you ain't going to a party that gets shot up? Because my people perish for lack of knowledge. Just like the Bible says. Just like it. Just like it. So that type of stuff is going to make you a target. So when they do these type of things, just understand your importance. Like that, you have, like, that is insane. That is insane. It's insane. Like that is crazy. To be hearing the TV, and you sit back smart and just sit there and just not even, you hear a news channel, they talking about everything going to your life. You hear the radio, they talking about everything. They talking, sending little whatever, messages, whatever, right? They talking about everything, right? So it's just like, you have to understand your importance when it comes to this. Like that stuff doesn't happen. That stuff doesn't happen to anyone. Like what? You gotta understand. Like, what do they want out of you? Like, what? Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. Like, that's crazy. But the next summary, um, what you need to understand is that this system is sick. What you don't understand about what don't you understand about guns and gangster music being permitted to be put on these three-letter TV companies: BET, MTV, VH1. It's kind of sound the same thing as the Alphabet Agency, right? Like, bro, we're all like in a loop. Like, they really have everything in society is like working together in a way, right? And then I only have another summary. I wanted to make this a really, really long live, so I'm going to try to go into more of the, this summary that I just spoke on about the three-letter TV companies and the Alphabet agencies, the Alphabet TV companies, right? So I'm going more about that. So it's just like they allow this stuff on TV. Those people are working for them. They're working for them in a way. Do you think that they're going to allow anybody with some money to not have a bunch of undercovers around them? You feel what I'm saying? Anybody with some money on TV, they're gonna have a bunch of undercovers around them inside of their camp, inside of their entourage. You get what I'm saying? Like, they're gonna have that stuff around them because guess what? That's too much money. That's why you see everybody getting some messed up situation. Like, they getting some messed up situation because it's like they gotta mess them up. It seems like they have to mess them up. But I just want you to understand the 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 correlation between these companies. BET, uh, F3I. You get what I'm saying? I try not to. I don't want them messing with my channel. You know, so I try not to even use those type of words. I don't know if that would get that stuff, make that stuff happen. But that's just what that is. But it's all the same thing, and it's obvious, and it's crazy. Like, it's crazy that gangster rapper that you see on TV with guns, he's working for them. Just like don't mean to say anything about. I have nothing against anyone, but they do words. What is it? The thug dude, and that thug dude words. He said he's a Freemason. He beats all his cases. They work with the police in a way. In a way. They work with these alphabet agencies in a way. And I'm not trying to be. It's not insulting. I'm just peeping what it is. In their entourage, they have a bunch of people that work for the police, properly undercover. And this is a little bit off of targeting, but it's just a little bit of logistics lesson. It's a little bit of logistics lesson. That's just it. It's a little bit of logistics lesson. That's all. But now this is the biggest summary. This is the biggest summary. Um, and this is some stuff that I noticed kind of a while ago. I noticed this a while ago, and they want me speaking like this. Like, they wanted me to be a smart criminal, like a gangster that's smart. Try to use me on TV like a gangster that's smart. They wanted me to do that. I think that, like, for real, like, they wanted me to be like a rapper that's smart like that. That's like, oh yeah, this he a killer. Like he a smart killer. Like, he just knowledgeable. And he trying to, like, they wanted me to be that. Like they wanted me to be that. So this is why I understand a psychology, right? So this is a new form of slavery. This is something that goes with everyone because everyone is in a new form of slavery, no matter your race, right? Check this out. The new form of slavery, and they want me to talk like this. I'm reading from my summary. The new form of slavery, and they want me to talk like this so I can seem like a smart criminal. And now that I acknowledge that I'm not a criminal or gangster, they want me to act as if they were trying to use me as a fake killer artist because I acknowledge that I'm none of that. So now, like years ago, I got cool with it. They started fake acting like they're accusing me of being something like that because I got cool with not being a killer. Because I stopped, hey, I don't want to rap. All right, cool. So they started trying to accuse me of that. It's so funny, like it's so sick, like, cause that's hard to get cool with. When you listen to music, I don't listen to music. It's hard to get cool with the fact you ain't never did nothing in your life, and you make gangster music. It's hard to get cool with that. It's hard to get cool with that. So I said, you know what? I don't even need that. I just get a job. Well, I tell you, they got so damn mad. It's like they got too mad I got cool. They didn't expect me to get cool with that. They wanted me to crash out. And I suggest, on a side note, I suggest every target stop listening to music. You are connected to God, to what you're going through, regardless. So I suggest that you stop listening to music because literally, logistics in the Bible. Guess who's the angel of music? The angel of music is Satan. Whoa, you still playing that song and wondering why you get mad? So anyway, um, like I said, right, the new form of slavery, and they want me to talk like this so I can seem like a smart criminal. And now that I acknowledge that I'm not, they want me to act as if they weren't trying to use me as a fake killer artist because I acknowledge that I'm none of that. So now it's a full attack. And they never were trying to use me. And they try to act like they never tried to use me as an asset to influence the masses. You know how in every movie there is a cop eating donut. Now this is the new form of slavery. You know how in every movie there is a cop eating donut portraying to be dumb while a crime is going on right in the vicinity. Now this is a movie that everyone's watching. These people go in the movie theater, they see the cop while a crime going on right in front of them. They see him just eating the donut right in front of them. Now you know what that influences? Oh, the cop's dumb. Oh, the cops are just stupid. You know what I'm saying? And this is some stuff I shouldn't even be talking about, but you have to talk about it once you realize who it is. It's like, whoa, this only could be them that's doing the targeting. They're using third party companies. The citizen gloves, cops gloves. You get what I'm saying? The cops gloves, like pause. I, I, I haven't done nothing like that in my life. I'm talking about some damn gloves. Pause. So yeah, like no, for real. But anyway, like yeah, the citizens' gloves, cops' gloves. But uh, you know how in every movie there is a cop eating donut portraying to be dumb, while a crime is going on right in front of them in their vicinity. That is to entrap people of all colors, especially blacks, to commit crime and be thrown into the system forever. Hiding these technologies they use for investigations. Why aren't there any classes teaching about these technologies in schools or colleges? Because as Judge Joe Brown aggressively said, the system don't work unless you do what you do. They don't want you to know about these technologies. Why not? Why they don't? There's literally not a class about that anywhere, anywhere, anywhere. And people need that. People need that. Other people need that. So the system don't work unless you do what you do. They don't want you to know about these technologies so that you commit crime. They want you to make. They want you see what I'm talking about. You know this. You've seen a movie where a cop eating a donut in the crime in the crime going on in front of them. They want you to make them think they dumb. They want you to think they're dumb, so you do it. So you do stuff because the system don't work unless you do what you do. So they hide it. So they don't want you to know about these technologies because if people know of 24/7 surveillance, they wouldn't do a thing. If people knew their consequences were guaranteed, they wouldn't do a thing. They wouldn't. They wouldn't. I'm just telling you how it is. There's no debate with this, right? Like I know you've seen a movie that's like that. You know why it's like that? That's probably like in every movie. That's probably like in every movie. Do you know why it's like that? Because they want you to think they dumb, so you do stupid stuff, right? So it's beneficial for less people to be on the street and in the system. It's beneficial. Just like they have that two bird, one stone um, quote. It's beneficial for people to be off the street and in the system. It's beneficial. That helps a lot of people. Helps citizens. It helps a lot of people. It helps. But this is why you must apply logistics to every situation in life. You must apply logistics to every situation in life. That means you get like me. You get like me. You apply logistics to every situation in life. Targets know of 24/7 surveillance, so they aren't committing any crimes. I'm saying this to destroy. They're trying a whistleblower tactic to make me stop speaking of this stuff when I have nothing to do with any crime that would take me off the street. So when they get you to stop trying to talk about this stuff, it's a whistleblower tactic. Not that you have been a part of something, like you've been a part of something like you have knowledge of like a organization that told you something or something like that. No, you can figure stuff out on your own. Like the answer be right there in front of you. The answer be right in front of you. But that was the last of the summary. Um, yeah, that was the last of the summary. I guess I'm gonna make this like a 40-minute live. I didn't get any comments on this one, and I guess that's cool. It doesn't really matter. I'm still gonna keep doing this stuff, man. Like, cause it's just beautiful to do. Like, it's beautiful to do, and I love doing this stuff. Like, I love doing this stuff. I just, giving knowledge to y'all and helping y'all out. You know, making y'all understand that you must apply logistics to every part of life. You walk around thinking you being targeted by gangsters and stuff like that. That's not what's going on. Or Freemasons or cults or anything like that. That's not what's going on. That's not what's going on. But yeah, I'm just sitting here sipping my lemonade with my alcohol, liquor, fucking heartburn and stuff. This stuff forces you to do a lot of stuff. It forces you to do a lot of stuff. Like it forces you might over smoke, you know, be anxiety in the house, stuff like that. But I'm about to get off of this live. It's a 40-minute live. That's enough for like a 40-minute live. It's entertaining enough to for y'all to listen to. But talk to y'all later. I'll probably be live again. I'm gonna keep going live. I'm gonna keep going live and keep going live every time I feel threatened, because this stuff, it doesn't go to. My intentions aren't for this stuff to go to the public. My intentions to help targeted individuals like myself um, from responding to directed conversation from people that are obviously cops and shouldn't know you. That's not a cult. Even if they is a cult, they're connected to the police, if you get what I'm saying. That's not a cult. It's not a cult. Even if they're a cult, that cult is connected to the police. Everything is connected to the police. Everything. When it comes to tracking and harassing, you know, gangsters, they're not going to track and harass you. They're going to do something. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not going to do that. They're going to do something. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not going to track and harass you. They're going to do something. They're not going to follow you around, do psychological warfare tactics, because they don't know what that is. Plus, they don't have time to be doing all of that. They don't know what that is. They don't know what that is. They don't know a psychological warfare tactic. They don't know what that is. So you got to understand that type of stuff. You have to. You have to apply logistics to every part of your life. You have to. That's how you get the answers that you need. Because logistics get you the answer. What benefit would regular citizens get out of targeting you everywhere that you go, harassing you? That's a simple answer in itself. Some people think these people got a personal problem with them, and they don't. They're being compensated in some type of way. In some type of way. Majority of Freemasonic lodges consist of cops. You think you're being targeted by Freemasons? It's cops. If you get what I'm saying. If you see a Freemason that's targeting you, that's a cop, bro. It's not no this or that. It's not a cult. They're cops. Everything's connected to that. Everything. Okay? And that's just what that is. So, I'm going to end this live. And this should be a good enough live and entertaining enough. At least the length of it should be entertaining enough. I like to have stuff that people can watch for a long time. Like I like 40-minute videos myself. But I'm gonna end this live stream, and I love all of y'all. And I'll be live again probably tomorrow or the next day. But it must continue. And people have to understand this stuff. Broken record or not. But I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and love.